when British rapper Tiny Temper was having a photo shoot in Gbagada, Nigeria with celebrity photographer T.Y. Bello in February 2016. Nobody anticipated the scope in which this photo shoot was going to change somebody's life. Her name is Olajumoke. Here is her story. This modern fairy tale of a grass-to-grace transformation began in Ore, Osun State in 1989 when Olajumoke was born. She grew up in the rural parts of Osun State, Nigeria in poverty and without any formal education. At the age of 16, in an attempt to change her economic story, she learned hairdressing within her area. Out there in the world trying to make ends meet, she met and fell in love with Sunday Orisaguna, a young carpenter who lived within the community. Wrapped in the arms of love and carried away by romance, Olajumoke soon got pregnant for Sunday, and before you know it, to the utter shock and absolute disappointment and disapproval of her mother, she moved in with Sunday, his mom and his dad, in the name of marriage. And that was the beginning of trials and tribulations, according to Olajumoke. Without enjoying any form of honeymoon pleasures in her new marriage, Olajumoke was instead met with harsh criticisms from her husband's mother, whom he would always side and unfortunately began to physically abuse Olajumoke. She tearfully recounted how the broils with her mother-in-law and the beatings from her husband really did a number on her self-esteem. And this toxicity from her husband's family would continue until she would have another child with Sunday Orisaguna. Her mother wouldn't help or intervene in the matter because, according to her mom, Olajumoke got married on her own by her own decision, so she has to face the dance by herself. In December 2015, after a particularly intense argument with her mother-in-law, which led to severe beatings from her husband, Olajumoke had finally had enough and made up her mind that she was leaving this abusive marriage. In January 2016, she packed her bags, her 2 boys, and the little money she had been saving and left Osun State to the bright lights of Lagos, in another brave attempt to change her life and her story. In Lagos, Olajumoke found a ray of hope in loaves of bread. With her minute savings, she began to buy and hawk loaves of bread in the Gbagada area of Lagos, Nigeria. And soon enough, her business began to flow, having a bakery to supply her and loyal customers to buy from her. On the fateful day that was Tuesday, 16 February 2016, Olajumoke was panicking because she was late to hawk her bread. The bread suppliers were late on that particular day and she was panicking, anxious to get her lot and sell to her customers before they would buy from another bread seller. And as soon as she got it, she went and had a bath, put on her dress, and went onto the streets to sell her bread as normal. But unbeknownst to her, there was nothing normal about that day because that was the day her life was about to change forever. You see, she had no way of knowing that British superstar rapper Tiny Temper and Nigerian celebrity photographer T.Y. Bello were having a photo shoot in Oladiran Estate, Gbagada, her normal bread hawking route. As she approached the photo shoot set, she noticed that there were so many people gathered around and she was wondering what was happening because she usually passed that place and just sold to her customers and would leave. But on that particular day, a crowd was gathered, entertaining themselves to the awesomeness that was T.Y. Bello taking Tiny Temper's photos. But Olajumoke didn't want to stay because she had a target. She wanted to sell off all her bread as she already got them late. So she was just wanting to pass through the crowd. And of course she was hesitant because she didn't know what was happening and she never knew who Tiny Temper was, neither did she know who T.Y. Bello was. She was hesitant to pass, but T.Y. Bello encouraged her to just take the walk and asked if it was okay to take her photos. She agreed and just wanted to get it over with so she could continue her day and sell off all her bread. T.Y. Bello took the photos and Olajumoke went about her normal activity of selling bread. As she got home, she just went to sleep like she would on any normal day, not knowing that those photos were about to capture the internet. When T.Y. Bello posted those photos online, everybody commented about, is Olajumoke a model where her skin is popping, she's so beautiful, the poise is there, the grace is there, the light smile is so professional. Nobody knew that she was just a bread seller. That social media attention and questions got T.Y. Bello on the ultimate search for Olajumoke. A search that led her and her team to the bakery which supplied Olajumoke at the time, and they found a very confused Olajumoke who was wondering why were people looking for her, knowing she had done nothing criminal and didn't owe anybody anything. But that was the day that her life would change forever. After finding out her identity, that she was from Osun State and she was married and all that, T.Y. Bello gave her publicity, which in turn made many other news outlets capture her story, and soon enough the BBC, CNN, everyone was talking about Olajumoke. She was asked if she would be interested in modeling and she said yes. She got training from a modeling training agency, and soon enough she began to be on the cover of magazines, in photo shoots, even doing fashion weeks, and just became the it girl for the season. The brand endorsement deals from banks and companies were coming in. Even Sujimoto's CEO gave her 5-year free rent in an apartment in Surulere and offered her children lifetime sponsorship in their education. It would seem that Olajumoke's life had changed for the better forever, but this is only the beginning of her ups and downs in life. You see, when the CEO of Sujimoto's gave her the apartment in Surulere, she called her abusive husband from Osun State to come and join her and live the luxury life. And when he came, the abuse began to start again. Very soon, he began to sound ungrateful to the people that helped them, and the companies never renewed their endorsement deals with her. He did not have a job, so all he would do is go out, drink, and come back. And whenever Olajumoke would have photo shoots in the night, sometimes she would come back by 12 in the night or 2 p.m. in the morning, he would have serious problems and cook up drama and basically abuse her. Maybe it's because of her lack of education, maybe it's because of her training or what a wife should be in Africa, but Olajumoke never told anybody, not even T.Y. Bello, about her marital woes with her husband. At the time, she was being managed by Azuka Ogojuobi, a journalist and T.Y. Bello's associate. But when Azuka was traveling abroad for a rather extended period of time, she had introduced her to one Victoria Ekong, who would now be her new manager. Her experience with Victoria is a classic case of ignorance meets industry vultures. According to Olajumoke, they would go for events and she would never get paid. She gave 2 examples when they went to South Africa for the South African Fashion Week, and when they came back to Nigeria, Victoria didn't give her any money. Victoria told her that there was no money made because Olajumoke was the one who paid for the flight, the hotels, the Uber, the styling, and the food that they ate on that trip. And therefore, having met all those expenses, there was nothing left to give Olajumoke. She was brought to tears about the fact that if she could read, she would have been able to read the contracts and know what she was signing. But because Victoria knew that Olajumoke could not read, she would give her all kinds of contracts and she did not know what she was signing. She would just tell her to sign here, sign there, and Olajumoke would just sign it. As though that extortion and exploitation was not enough, all of Olajumoke's popping social media accounts and their passwords were in the custody of Victoria. And when Olajumoke wanted out of that contract, Victoria Ekong denied her the access to her own accounts and hasn't given her the passwords to this day. Soon enough, Olajumoke's life and her career began to tumble from grace to grass. Between the implications of her illiteracy, her husband's constant abuse and lack of support, her manager Victoria Ekong's exploitation of her ignorance, her brand endorsement deals not being renewed, Olajumoke unfortunately had quite the cocktail of disaster, which ultimately led to her being back in the slums of Lagos, begging for food from Azuka and T.Y. Bello and seriously considering going back to hawking bread. Her marriage to Sunday Orisaguna also ended because without anything to latch on, Sunday ran back to Osun State and left her with the 2 boys to take care of them as a single mother. Her glorious circumstantial rise to fame was an inspiration to so many, and people now believe that truly a fairy tale transformation was possible. But where is Olajumoke Orisaguna? Over the years, someone somewhere on social media would pop the question, do you remember Oni Bread, Olajumoke? Where is she now? Nobody knew where she was or what she was up to anymore. And it seemed like she she had disappeared into thin air as suddenly as she had appeared in our faces. While the nation wondered where she was, Olajumoke was wallowing in poverty, and sometimes her neighbors would bring pictures of her glamorous days to her, which would bring her to tears, thinking about how she had managed to waste such a golden opportunity and wondering if she would ever rise again. Because of the level of her poverty, her neighbors would find it very hard to believe that she was the same person they see in these glamorous photos, and would further probe her on what happened to you, Olajumoke. Through the valleys of her fallen glory, Azuka and T.Y. Bello never left Olajumoke's side and constantly gave her financial and moral support. Armed with the support of these two powerful women, Olajumoke was determined to rise again, and they were determined to make sure that Olajumoke sees the light of limelight once again. A second chance. With their connections, Olajumoke reached out to City FM's Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Doja Allen, and Mrs. Allen's foundation has enrolled Olajumoke in the City Media Academy, where she will undergo professional training in radio presentation, news production, and digital content creation. Upon completing her training, Olajumoke would be employed at City 105.1 FM and host a new talk show called Kilon Shelle. The foundation has also pledged their commitment to lead Olajumoke to a glorious comeback, a steady and dependable source of income, and a much needed education. Because giving her handouts without giving her the training on how to manage her finances and how to earn money for herself has proven to be a recipe for disaster. This time around, Olajumoke will be taught how to catch fish instead of just giving handouts of fish. That is the glorious story of Olajumoke, from grass to grace to grass to grace. I wish her all the best. Have a wonderful day, and let me know what you think about this story, because I've gone through all kinds of emotions and I'm just telling the story. It wasn't even my life. All the best to you guys listening. See you again in the next one. My name is Jojo the Map. Have a wonderful day.